people of India, at least 75% of you, we hear you. We get it. This is a legitimate gripe. Do not listen to the legacy media outlets who are trying to browbeat you for your concern of your own personal safety and the future of your family. Let's go to India. That place is hot. So,
oh yeah, make me so hot.
Oh jeez,
you want the banana? So, we've talked quite a bit on this program, and I've been doing this back to 2009, really, about the incompatibility of Islam and really Western civilization. And I'm not just talking about the religion, I'm talking about the political prescription.
Yeah.
Right? Dr. Ben Carson got into so much trouble because he said actually the Quran and Sharia law are incompatible with the Constitution, and they accused him of racism at that point. Islam is not the same as every other religion out there in that there is a very clearly defined political prescription and system of government. Here's the thing. We're not the only ones to have highlighted this. Pretty much every country in the world that doesn't want to live under Islamic rule has come to that conclusion, which brings us to this week's Eye on India. All right.
Toolman is so happy we finally got to use that.
We did.
You should keep two eyes on India.
Yeah,
Yes.
It's been a while
should
since we ran that one.
So India, they're in the middle of right now a 6-week election. And
Which is hilarious, by the way. It takes 6 weeks. They freaking, what are you, taking up a Dominion machine with a Sherpa to get the one vote
it's a
from that guy?
huge country.
It is, but they literally make sure everybody votes. I'm not kidding.
Yeah.
There's a guy, I think, that occupies, and he's the only person in that region who will be able to vote, and they made sure he had a polling booth there. They're committed.
They are committed. Even the guy who wraps his wiener around the bow staff.
He gets to vote.
Yeah.
Twice.
It's wiener yoga. That's a thing.
It is.
What?
Yeah.
Look it up.
We'll talk about it on Mug Club.
Don't look it up.
We'll definitely get removed.
Okay.
So the Prime Minister, and I want to make sure I have this name right, it's Narendra Modi.
Modi.
Indians watching, please let me know how I did with that. He has angered Islamists, Muslims in general, again.
Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi has been accused of making Islamophobic comments during an election rally, triggering widespread anger from Muslims and members of the opposition. And Mr. Modi said if the opposition Congress is voted back into power, it would distribute citizens' wealth among what he called infiltrators and those who have more children, referring to Muslims in India.
आपको मंजूर है ये कांग्रेस का मैनिफेस्टो कह रहा है.
Gotta appreciate the guy's ill. Thanks, Indian John Hammond. And
oh, that's uncanny.
Yeah. Spot on.
And I appreciate what he's doing here. I just wish that other countries would stop remaking our classics.
Welcome to Jurassic Park. We understand the culture here, you know?
I get it. Different strokes. Just make your own.
Oh gosh.
If you expected more mature. So here's the thing. The media, of course, was right away quick to condemn Modi's comments, right?
Yeah.
You see this from CNN, Time, Reuters, WAPO. Let me ask you, do you actually agree with these legacy media outlets and think his comments are racist? I don't believe so. Let me walk you through some key facts here. And I think this is important for everyone in the Western world to understand. Let me set this let me set the stage here. Multiculturalism is a luxury only afforded to the modern world. Kind of like climate policy, right? Because you have the benefit now of living in a modern society with technology. You've gone through the Industrial Revolution, and now you're actually in effectively the digital revolution. A lot of these other places in the world, they haven't necessarily gone through that, but no country has pulled themselves into the modern age through multiculturalism. They've had to do it with a clear identity, with a clear set of values, and a unified country, a unified nation. And then they fracture and become a mosaic. It only happens with rich, white, affected liberal countries. No country has ever become successful through this idea of multiculturalism. That is something that they recognize in India. And if you look into the history, you go, oh, okay, this isn't just racism. They've lived it, and they are living it. So a key fact here, first key fact, I guess. This man, Modi, super popular in India. So if you are saying that he is racist, guess what? You are saying that 75% of Indians are effectively racist.
That's higher than Malay.
Yeah.
And Malay's doing great in Argentina right now. Jeez.
Right. And he, by the way, is also pretty big about a national identity. Another key fact. He's basically kind of make India great again. I guess if it's...
Miga.
Yeah. Miga. We'll make it great.
Make India.
Sometime. Maybe not, but we'll try. It will be okay.
How'd you use the soft day on that one?
He promotes Hindu culture, nationalism. And by the way, 80% of Indians are Hindu. So that matters to him, matters to seemingly a lot of Indians. And if you want to vilify him, you're vilifying the people of India who believe they should have a national identity. What happened to all cultures being equal? Here's another key fact for you. This man, his party, they have a pretty long history with Muslims. Let me give you some of this here. In 2021, the Indian government placed the only Muslim majority state under direct government rule. Now, you might see that, New York Times may see that and say, oh my gosh, fascism, racism. Let me get to why. They also, in 2022, banned a Muslim group. It was a Popular Front of India for direct ties to terrorism.
That's reasonable.
It would be nice if we did that with our groups on college campus and money from Qatar, but hey, India is actually ahead of us on that. We could take some notes from India. Now, if you don't remember this, in 2008, right, there was the Mumbai terror attack.
Yeah.
Right, hostages were taken. 174 people were killed. Over 300 people were injured. There's been a long and storied history with India, and you look at what's happened there. I can't get into all of it, but Islam, Hinduism, right? There's been conflict. This is not something that is new to them, and so they say, hold on a second, we need to put this only Muslim majority state under control. Why? Well, because historically, if they get the power of the majority, they start killing people. And it concerns them because they've lived it. They have to live with it in India. You don't, UK or DNC here in the United States. So you say racism, they say, I watched a friend die. Or I saw what happened to my country over a period of decades, and I don't want it to happen again. They recognize the direct political threat that Islam, a political prescription, represents. Most of it, 75%. That's a lot. That includes this guy who drinks cow pee.
Here in the western state of Gujarat, cow urine is being used to treat a whole range of ailments.
Many people know that cow urine is beneficial and that it has lots of herbs in it. So, by and large, people are not reluctant to take it.
That's my dentist.
I don't know that what he just said was true. Can we? Many people drink cow pee. I don't think so. They all know the benefits.
It has herbs in it.
What
ailment?
You have clinical data. What's your control group? Death?
Yeah. Look at me. Perfect health. Bring that guy back up.
Yeah.
Bring that guy back up. He's the spokesperson for the cow piss movement.
Yeah. And then they go on in that special to say,
Look at that.
they
Top medical official. Oh, jeez.
and he is not representative of all of medicine in India, by the way.
Of course not.
They actually use medicine that works. This guy just really has a thing for cow urine.
Yeah.
Keep it coming.
Yeah.
It's all a rumor.
What ailments does it cure? Well, thirst,
Yes.
hunger.
Are there better options for thirst? Yes.
Maybe.
Well, there's options.
You could have something that is not cow pee,
Oh, that's so disgusting.
but
But where will you get your herbs?
I prefer cow pee.
Can't I get my herbs from the herbs?
Yeah, could I just get it?
Where did the
I mean, you
cows
have to
get 'em?
supplement your herbs.
Yeah.
You have to take a bottle of herb supplements
Could I just
with your water.
like
but that'd
have-
be crazy.
Take it from the herb garden
Yeah.
and not drink the cow pee? You could.
It's right here. I got a bucket. I got a pea guy. He collects it in a bucket.
You could do that too.
What do we like, the filtering of a cow?
Different strokes. For me, it's cow pee.
The cows ate all the herbs. So he's got to get
Beat the cows to the herbs. Come on.
And also to give you an idea, Modi added 110 million new toilets in India. Just to be clear, this is something that people there want. They're saying we want to be brought in. What? I'm bringing good news, Gerald.
I know. I'm sorry, but when you look at your platform and you point to your results, inflation, is down, the economy's roaring, no new wars. We added toilets.
Hey, perspective, Gerald.
Yes.
I'm not sure.
It would be kind of funny to see Trump campaigning on that, though.
Toilets.
I'm not sure.
I added 110 million toilets in my
That's
campaign.
a lot of toilets, man. You must have had a lot of vacancies to fill.
Hey, I could use a couple more toilets myself, to be honest. So.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, we don't need any more in D.C. They're called the Democrat Party.
Wow.
Just imagine that 110 million new toilets. That's enough of a problem. And think about it. This is what these people need. If you're a privileged white person in the Western world, hey, you don't think about the fact that you need toilets. This is part of his platform that people like. There is nothing to fear other than shit in the streets. That we don't like.
We don't like that. No.
Ask not if you can shit in the street. Ask if there's a toilet nearby. Come on, we are humans.
Well, this guy's part of the movement. Like we're seeing kind of the Donald Trump of, right? So he's the Donald Trump of India right now. He's focusing on trying to make India better, and people love it. And he's also protecting their national identity to some degree.
And he's leaning into it.
Yeah.
He doesn't deal in guilt. That's the thing. He doesn't just sit. So to give you an idea, in this January, this one, okay, hold on to your butts. He attended the dedication of a Hindu temple.
Fine.
Built on the ashes of a mosque.
Not as fine.
Holy crap.
Which prompted Genghis Khan rolled over in his grave and said, that's a bit much. That's severe.
What land are we going to use? I don't know. Burn that.
Yes. It's like getting married on your dead wife's grave. AIDS. Well, son. Or was it Hep C? I don't know.
Probably AIDS.
Jenny was whore.
She slept with Fauci.
So here's another key fact.
Drank too much cow piss.
This brings us to something that I think, there's no way around this. Islam is, it's not just incompatible with the Western, it's incompatible with non-Islamic countries. Okay, now we've done this before. We've done the Quran challenge. Open the Quran, read 5 pages in any direction. See if you can spot the problem with a modern civilized society. If you don't primarily believe in, for example, violence to those who don't follow your religion. If you believe in actual equal rights for men and women. No, I'm not talking about privileges, and I'm not talking about Title IX and trans and sports, and I'm not talking about affirmative action. I'm talking about a woman having the right to, drive and not be beaten. Let's go even further, though. Aside from the Quran, let's go to how this plays out in practice. And we've talked about this before. Across the world, 198 million Muslims worldwide support the use of at least some violence in the realm of conflict, in the realm of people converting, in the realm of basically anyone not following lockstep with Islam. 198 million Muslims worldwide support some use of violence. The people who support use of violence strongly is still well over 50 million.
Yes.
But don't cite that number or they'll kill you. And in India, by contrast, Hindus there believe in ahimsa is a principle of nonviolence.
Yeah.
Right? That's a big part of Hinduism. Now, you may prefer Islam, but you have to recognize that Hinduism is different from Islam, and they want to protect it. I'm not Hindu, but I also understand why Hindus might be concerned, especially, again, if you look at the history of the region. 3 in 4 Indian Muslims want actual Sharia courts. 3 in 4 Indian Muslims want Sharia courts. By the way, the 1 in 4 is a woman, and the poll has a margin of error of plus or minus 1 bitch. So it's a little bit tough to. But think about it. 3 in 4 want Sharia courts. Do you know what happens in Sharia court?
Yeah.
You have you were raped? How many witnesses do you have, or we maybe stone you to death if you come forward?
Right.
Oh, wait a second. You don't want to lose your children? Before we even get to no-fault divorce here in the States, he can say divorce, divorce, divorce 3 times, go to a Sharia court. Good enough for us. You lose your rights, Mom. That's a Sharia court. This isn't something that white conservative conspiracy theorists have made. 3 in 4 Indians support actual Sharia courts. Are you familiar with Sharia law? Please comment below if you are. Have you seen it in practice? Are you aware of these laws? Do you know how women are treated? How do you think this pans out for LGBTQAI+?
Have you heard
a subdued rainbow?
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, this happened in the UK where they had Sharia law courts, like the Sharia courts were instituted in certain areas. And I don't know if you remember this, but several years back, and it's still this way, but we don't hear about it as much, there were no-go zones.
Right.
I don't know of any other group of people that comes in and says, we're not going to abide by your nation's laws. We want to set up our own courts to handle this stuff. And also, by the way, you're not allowed in this part of the city that we've moved to.
Right.
Like that doesn't happen. That's not somebody coming in to try to be a part of your society. That's somebody coming in to take over your society.
Right.
And these guys, let's just be clear too, India and Pakistan have never been friends.
No.
Like, these guys are going to fight until the earth ends at some point.
Effectively.
Yes, and Muslim, Hindu population, and the nuclear thing. Like
Yes.
they're probably the first to pop it off.
That's kind of a big deal. A lot of people haven't really taken it into consideration. Yeah. Also notice with Islamic countries, you don't see Christians or Hindus trying to reformat their laws because it's a lost cause. In other words, Islamic country, okay, absolutely, I lose all my rights. So you simply decide not to live there. The best you can hope for is internationally to contain the violence so that it doesn't spread to other countries. However, in other countries that are even remotely tolerant, what happens whenever the Islamic population grows? Say, no, we want to start changing the country to our laws. Pick any country, any Islamic country where Islam has had political power. Right? I'm not talking about American Muslims where obviously they wouldn't be able to affect the laws here in this country and establish Sharia courts. Anywhere that there is a Muslim majority rule and they create a government as they see fit, point me to any country in the last century that has had a decade and a half of basic enjoyment of human rights, civility, nonviolence. You can't. Bikinis in Iran in the 70s, great. That didn't last long.
No.
It never does. This is not the exception with Islam. Once it achieves power, it is always the rule. Let's be clear about that. And in India, they've lived it. They're concerned about it. And it gets my goat when you see a bunch of Americans going, this is intolerant. I can't believe this Prime Minister. Hold on a second. Have you spent some time there?
Yeah.
Are you aware of what a Sharia court is? And let's even go to, Muslims in America. You have, in the United States, you have 60% of United States Muslims say that Hamas was justified in attacking Israel on October 7th. Not they don't like Israel and they think there should be a two-state solution. 60% of American Muslims say Hamas was justified attacking Israel on October 7th, meaning they've seen the attack.
Ow.
They know what happened. They know it's Hamas. 60% say good going here in the States.
Wow.
We're still talking about white supremacists?
Biggest threat to our nation, Stephen.
Yeah. Biggest threat to our nation. It's like, I think you're kind of a threat. Well, where do you get that? Well, because you said that you support terrorism.
I wonder how they feel about 9/11.
I think they were cheering.
There were quite a few.
I think they're afraid to take that poll.
They're afraid to take that poll. I was in Canada. When it happened, and I watched some people cheer. They were happy about it.
That's insane.
Mm-hmm. The guy came into school. He had an I Plane New York shirt instead of the heart, and I got in deep trouble because I read him the riot act, and we almost came to fisticuffs. This was in Greenfield Park, outside of Montreal. Now, in the UK, 46% of UK Muslims are pro-Hamas in general. 46%. 46% is bad enough. 60% supporting actually the October 7th attacks, of course, performed by Hamas. 46 and 60, think about that for a second.
Those should be single-digit numbers. They shouldn't exist, but if they do exist, they should be single-digit numbers, and we should be able to point to them like the Westboro Baptists and say, they don't represent us.
Right.
Unfortunately, they do represent you, Islam. This is the problem that we have. And in India, they're dealing with it with a huge Islamic country right next door. They have firsthand experience. It's like the issue with the border. People in New York were all about, make sure people can come into this country. It's totally fine. Don't do anything with the border. People in Arizona, Texas, California, New Mexico were saying, hey, wait a minute. We've got a serious problem. Let's bring the problem to your front door and see if your attitude changes. Chicago, New York, San Francisco, your attitude's changing quite a bit. Mm-hmm. That's why India is where they are.
Yeah.
And as much as I don't like what the Chinese are doing to the Uyghurs, that's why China is where they are.
Right.
They're doing it in a bad way, but they're also protecting their national identity from the threat that they're seeing with Islam. Now, for them, they just don't want to lose control of the elites in China. So that's a bad thing. But this guy's saying, hey, popular elections, let's vote. By the way, you guys can't just have free stuff coming into our country.
Right.
He calls them invaders.
Yes, he does.
This is their kind of border issue to some degree. People coming in, not assimilating into their culture, don't give a crap about the culture and want to take over. Mm-hmm. You have to put a stop to that somehow.
Put this on.
God, I wish these people didn't hate their own country so much.
Yeah. It's a good.
They're all leaving. They're all. Why, you guys? It's all great. You want to
Stay in
spread
Pakistan.
Why are you leaving it?
Yeah.
Stop leaving it.
Yeah.
You guys all want to be together. Hang out, homie.
They want the luxuries afforded to them by an enlightened society without actually living in it, and then they want to change
Tearing it down, literally tearing it down.
It's like some of the Californians who move to Texas. They flee California.
Please.
And then they say, I want to bring the policies that I fled to Texas. Now, not most of them. Most of the Californians coming here actually, they're pretty reasonable, and they're not
feel
trying
like
to
they made
stay
it to
purple.
safe ground.
They feel like they made it to safe ground. But every now and then you run into a Californian who's like, yeah, I left California. Oh, why? Well, there was no more, there were no more job opportunities. I had to come here for work. But, I really miss, and they go down the list of things that led to no job opportunities. Let's take this number, 46%. I won't even take the 60 who supported Hamas. Hey, feminists, if 46% of men supported beating women, would that be a problem? If 46% of Trump voters supported actually bombing Congress, would that be a problem? If 46% supported in Charlottesville, as opposed to saying not neo-Nazis, not white supremacists, running someone over with a Dodge Challenger, would that be a problem? Because all of those things pale in comparison to the October 7 attacks. And that's a 60% number, let alone 46% in the UK who just support Hamas in general.
Yeah.
To me, what's so shocking about that is that poll was framed in a way to give you an out. Like, hey, I bet you the poll taker thought, I'm gonna carry their water here. Do you just support everything about Hamas? Yes. You don't have to support everything. I can put you down as no. And 46% were like, check the Y box.
The guy's like, say no. Come on, just say no. Say no. It's probably best if you say no.
I'll mark you down as a maybe. Yes.
They had a more nuanced question and like, this might produce like a 46% result. We don't want that.
Yeah, we don't want that.
Now remember, if you say yes, you support them, you also support rape, violence for no reason, anti-Semitism, genocide. Oh, still yes. Oh, okay.
Still, that's okay.
Wow. I am very white. So the point, and you can comment below. We talk about this with climate change policy, right? Where, hey, to you, gas prices going up $1.50, doubling. It sucks. It's inconvenient. Mm-hmm. In rural parts of Mexico, people die because their entire life is about eating, sustaining themselves, usually trying to afford some kind of usable energy. Happens all across South America, happens across Asia, right? If energy costs go up, they die. So it's a luxury for you. Oh, an electric car? Well, most people don't have the money to buy a brand new electric car. Purchase carbon offsets? Must be nice. Al Gore, when you fly first class or fly private. Same thing here. Multiculturalism is a luxury that is only afforded to those in the United States, in the UK, from nations that have propelled themselves into the modern era without multicultural. And then we fracture, and then we destroy ourselves from within. That's pretty much any empire, any great nation, any formidable foe. They have to have a unified identity. The thing is, in the United States, it's not based on a race. It's based on a series of ideas. How do we know? We wrote them down. Isn't that great? Multiculturalism cannot create a great nation. It's not a luxury that a place like India can afford right now when most of their country lives in abject poverty to the point where a campaigning issue is more toilets. They're not concerned about your pride parade and multicultural. So people of India, at least 75% of you, we hear you. We get it. This is a legitimate gripe. Do not listen to the legacy media outlets who are trying to browbeat you for your concern of your own personal safety and the future of your family. Makes sense. I don't know everything about this prime minister, but you know what? From what I know, hey, seems to be headed in the right direction. This has been Eye on India.
Watch Louder with Crowder live Monday through Thursday, 10 a.m. Eastern.